شباب صبايا بدنا نحل أنا وياكم دورة جديدة، تحديداً دورة 2016 الاستثنائية. سؤال الإكسبوننشال function هيدا الفانكشن f. It is required to find the limit of the function f at minus infinity. So as usual, we replace x by minus infinity. Minus multiplied by minus gives plus. E to the power infinity is equal to infinity. Infinity multiplied by infinity gives infinity. Minus infinity minus infinity gives minus infinity. In the second part, we have to find the limit of the function f at plus infinity. So again, I'm going to replace x by plus infinity. X by plus infinity. X by plus infinity. Minus multiplied by plus gives minus. E to the power minus infinity is equal to 0. Pay attention. Infinity multiplied by 0. It is a case of indeterminate form in which I have to switch from multiplication into division. So شباب صبايا إذا أنا عندي infinity times 0 لازم أعمل switching from multiplication into division. بين المultiplication بدنا نحولها ل divide. رح نزل الإي لتحت بس على شرط لازم غير إشارة الإكسبوننت تاعولتها، فبدل ما تكون minus x رح تصير plus x. فعليا نحن غيرنا من شكل الفانكشن بس ما غيرنا من قيمته. شو الهدف من هيدا التشينج؟ إني يصير أقدر طبق LHR. So now we have to apply LHR. رح ننزل الليميتس مثل ما انتم شايفين. نزلت الاكس ورح طبق لوبيتال رول على هيدا الفراكشن اني يساوي ديريفاتيف من فوق وديريفاتيف من تحت. الديريفاتيف لل1x is equal to 1 والديريفاتيف للEx هي EX. And now I will replace x by infinity. E to the power infinity is infinity. Number divided by infinity is equal to 0. Infinity plus 0 gives infinity. Next, calculate f of 1.5. So بيجي عندي الفانكشن f محل كل x عندي بحط 1.5 وبجيب الكالكوليتر وبحسب الفاينل انسر. هيدي الاكس 1.5 وهيدي الواي 1.835 وصار في عندي particular point. Let D be the line with equation y equal x. Study the relative position of C and D. In order to study the relative position between a curve and a straight line, first step, I have to find y of C minus y of D. Y of C given and y of D given. X minus x will cancel each other. YC minus YD equal x e to the power minus x. Second step, I have to solve the following equation equal to 0. Exponential, it is impossible for to be 0, so I'm going to take x equal to 0. How to identify whether x equals 0 is an accepted value or a rejected value? I have to refer back to the domain of definition. 0 is included in the domain of definition. So x equals 0 is an accepted value. And finally, in order to study the relative position between a curve and a line, I have to draw the table of signs. Domain, the accepted solution, and now how to precise the sign. Take any number in the interval 0 plus infinity. Let's say that x equal 1. Suppose that x equal 1. Replace x equal 1 in yc minus yd. The answer is positive value. Consequently, the sign here is negative. We can say now that the curve C is above the line D in the interval 0 plus infinity. Why? The curve C is below the line D in the interval minus infinity 0. Prove that the line D is an oblique asymptote to the curve C. In order to show that a line is an oblique asymptote, simply I have to prove the following relation. Limit at infinity, yc minus yd must be equal to 0. Yc minus yd, its answer is equal to xe to the power minus x. And now let's replace x by infinity. E to the power minus infinity equals 0. Another time it is an indeterminate form in which I have to switch from multiplication into division. So now I'm going to convert from multiplication into division. بنحط الإي من تحت minus x بتصير plus x. Replace x by infinity. Another case of indeterminate form, but this time I'm going to apply L'Hopital rule, which means derivative for the numerator and derivative for the denominator. Derivative of 1x is equal to 1, while the derivative of ex is equal to ex. Another time, replace x by infinity. E to the power infinity is equal to infinity. Any number divided by infinity is equal to 0. So now we can say that the line D is an oblique asymptote to the curve C. In this part, we are going to determine f prime of x. Derivative of 1x is equal to 1. Let's make derivative for the following expression. It represents u dot v, in which I can apply the following formula u prime v plus v prime u. Let's take now e to the power minus x as a common factor. So the derivative of xe to the power minus x is equal to e to the power minus x multiplied by 1 minus x. Given that the tangent T is parallel to the line D, lines are parallel to each other. This implies that they have the same slope. In other words, the slope of the tangent is equal to the slope of the line D. By definition, slope of the tangent is equal to f prime of x. Slope of D is equal to 1. f prime x نحن بعدنا مطلعين الانسر لإلها simply راح اخذ هيدا الانسر وبدي يصير اعمل كل جهدي. I'm trying now to solve the following equation. Okay, separate, take a +1 to the another side. Exponential, it is impossible to be 0. So 1 minus x is equal to 0. And consequently, the value of x will be equal to 1. But in order to determine the coordinates of the points A, we have to find the value of x and the value of y. So now I'm going to replace x equal 1 in the function f. And calculate the final answer. Now we can say that the coordinates of the points A are 1, 1.3, 6, 8. Look at the following table. From the following table, we have to verify that the curve C admits an inflection point. Just a reminder, بس نشوف inflection point ظهوري تفكيرنا بروح عند second derivative. بنشوف هل في zero عند second derivative. So the first condition, the second derivative must be equal to 0. The second condition, there must be a change in sign. وهون it is clear إنه there exists a change in sign. We can say now that function f admits an inflection point whose coordinates are x equal to, ولنطلع الواي هيدي 2 بروح بعوضها مباشرة بالفانكشن f. In this part, we are going to study the sign of f prime of x. Bring your calculator and calculate 1 minus e to the power minus 2. It will be a positive value. So now, in order to study the sign of f prime of x, I will refer to the table of variation. F prime x is decreasing from plus infinity to a positive value. Thus, f prime x is positive. Then it increases from 1 minus e to the power minus 2 to plus 1, which is also positive. So we can conclude by referring to the table of variation that f prime x is always positive. Taking into consideration that f prime x is always positive, now you are asked to set up the table of variation of the function f. So I'm going to set up now the table of variation, putting the domain of definition, taking into consideration that f prime x is always positive. If f prime x is always positive, this implies that the function f of x is strictly increasing. Now, let's calculate limits at minus infinity. This was done in the preceding parts. Limits of the function f at minus infinity is equal to minus infinity. Repeat the same step for plus infinity. Limits at plus infinity for the function f is equal to plus infinity from the first parts. In this way, we can say that we set up the table of variation of the function f. Now, it is required to draw the line D. Line D is a line passing through these 2 points, 0, 0 and 1, 1. We can say, suppose that x equals 0, y will be 0. Suppose that x equals 1, y will be equal to 1. Label these 2 points, 0, 0 and 1, 1. After labeling these 2 points, join them. هلا شباب صبايا بدنا نرسم التانجنت تي. التانجنت تي عندي معلومتين عنه بقلب السؤال. المعلومة الأولى بتقول هو عبارة عن لاين parallel لللاين دي، ومعلومة ثانية بتقول إنه اللاين تي عم يمرق بهيدي النقطة. فاللي رح أعمله أنا وياكم هلأ منجيب قلم رصاص منعين هيدي النقطة على الكوردينيت سيستم. من هيدي النقطة منجيب المسطرة ونرسم لاين بيكون parallel لللاين دي بهيدا الشكل. إذا لاحظتوا صار في عندي خطين، خط اسمه دي اللي نحن رسمناه بالفرع اللي قبله، وخط اسمه تي. هيدول الخطين parallel لبعض، وهيدا الخط سي عم يمرق بالبوينت A اللي عند الكوردينيتس لها. من بعد ما رسمت اللاينز اجا دور الكيرف. هلا ارسمه انا وياكم. دائما وقت ما نقول كيرف اول شغله بدها تخطر ببالنا البارتيكولار بوينتس. اكيد انا وياكم من خلال السؤال كنا مطلعين particular points، وانتم فيكم تقراوا قد ما بدكم particular points طالما هالشيء رح ياخذوا من رسمي عنه. هيدي اول particular point 0 0 هلا رح عينها، وثاني particular point اللي هي 1.5 و 1.835. هيدي البارتيكولار بوينت، وهيدي particular point شباب صبايا. اكيد انا لارسم الكيرف بدي يكون في عندي table of variation مبين انه الرسمه عندي increasing طالعه طلوع. دائما استفيدوا من البارتيكولار بوينتس. انا وعم اطلع طلوع من الماينس انفينيتي رح امرق باول بارتيكولار بوينت وامرق بالثاني، وكف طلوع لاوصل عند الاوبليك اسيمتوت اللي مستنيني عند البلس انفينيتي. لانه ما تنسوا انه نحن ات بلس انفينيتي كان في عندنا اوبليك اسيمتوت. انا رسمتي فعليا بدها تبلش من الماينس انفينيتي، بطلع طلوع عند اول particular point اللي هي 0 0، كفي عند البارتيكولار بوينت الثاني وكفي من بعدها طلوع. انا وطالعه بدي اعمل حسابي كون قريبه كثير للاوبليك اسيمتوت بس من دون ما اعمل انترسكشن معه. هيدي الماينس انفينيتي مرقنا بالزيرو زيرو، مرقنا بالبارتيكولار بوينت وكفينا طلوع. بس وقت ما وصلت للاوبليك اسيمتوت اهم شيء about to touch